Hello, sweet friends. This is Tracy. Welcome to another video. Today I am sharing my favorite Halloween DIYs with you, and this collection video is jam-packed with all kind of country Halloween DIYs. I know country and Halloween don't go together, but guys, in my world it does, because I love all things country. I love paint splatters, I love happy dots, and I love that you are here. Guys, my name is Tracy. I love to share crafty ideas with a bit of rustic country charm, just like today's video. Now guys, I do jam pack a lot of stuff in my videos, so the timestamps for each DIY is in the description box below. All right, let's go ahead and get started, and let me share my country Halloween DIYs. So this Boo Crew truck is definitely cuteness overload. Now guys, I started with two of these Happy Harvest fall trucks that Dollar Tree used to carry, but they have since changed their trucks to these versions. So just kind of sharing you different ideas. Anyway, what I did is I just took my box blade and I cut off one part, or the top part of one of the trucks. And I did have to score it a couple of times, but it comes off pretty easy. And so then for the other one, I had just taken off the metal leaf, and then I was going to try to take off the paper, but I was having a hard time. This is before a sweet viewer had shared with me about putting a wet paper towel or a wet wipe on it to get the paper off more easier. And so I share that now, or I do that tip now. And I greatly appreciate y'all leaving me different tips and tricks. Anyway, so I just kind of left it as it is. I'm using this lavender color Americana paint. It's an acrylic paint, and I just gave it 3 coats of this lavender paint. I painted both trucks. I painted both sides, on the front and on the back, as well as the tailgate of the other truck. So I painted that bottom part green and hand lettered "No Creeps" on there. I know it's a tire underneath the truck, but I turned it into a sign for my truck. Anyway, so then you may have seen me do this on my other truck tutorials. I take just some drizzle gray paint, just acrylic paint, and I just, shaping out a back glass, and I give that, 2 coats of the acrylic paint. And then I go back with this metallic silver acrylic paint. You can get it at the craft store, and I just go around and give it some highlight or some glare for my glass. And then I also do part of the truck where it would be like rear view mirrors, and then I'm also going to do a bumper at the bottom. Now I am doing my shading. I like to do this. I kind of follow the same techniques on all of my painted projects, and I love so many sweet friends that are loving these painted projects. Thank you so much for your sweet comments and support. What I do is I use a 1/2 inch flat paintbrush, and I dip half of my brush in paint, the other half in clean water. And then I just go around my project just to shade a bit. This right here, just because of the colors, I'm just using a white to highlight this truck. And so I'm just going around with my brush and just adding some highlights, and then I'll go back and add some doodling in just a bit. Okay, so for the box, like I said, these are the large candy boxes that Dollar Tree is offering, and I just gave it 2 coats of the same color. I think it was 2 or 3 coats of the same lavender paint. Now for the end of my tailgate, I want to make a sign, and I have I'm taking one of these wood slats. You can get them at the craft store. I think I got this pack from Walmart. And so then I'm just going to be painting here, just kind of just freehanding this here. Now guys, I did not achieve all this painting overnight. It's a lot of trial and error and a lot of God-given talent. And I do appreciate so many sweet friends that say that they love this style of painting. I mentioned recently on one of the comments or one of the videos that I did that a lot are saying that it reminds them of the 70s or 80s toll painting. So anyway, I will take it. Anyway, so guys, I just used my fan brush and some drizzle gray acrylic paint and just took my fan brush just to give it a background. And then now I'm just taking my 1/4 inch flat paintbrush and just doing some hand lettering, writing the Boo Crew. And I love happy dots. I love all of the doodles and all of that good stuff. It just makes my heart just happy, happy, happy. Anyway, I'm just taking the end of a paintbrush and just adding some doodles to the ends of my letters. Now, guys, I will share a free font that you may have heard me mention. It is called Gel Dotica font. I will leave a link for that in the description box below if you would like to download it to your computer so that you can maybe print something out and trace it, with tracing paper or graphite paper, and you have some of this happy dot lettering. Okay, then now is the fun part. I'm going to make some characters. Now, at the time of this video, Dollar Tree did not have any of the Halloween character cutouts like they do now. So I had to get creative. So I am just using just some different wood pieces that was in my wood stash, and I am making some cute little characters as my Boo Crew. So I'm making some ghosts. I made a little cute jack-o'-lantern, and the Frankenstein is so cute. Now for the witch's legs, I actually had found those witch's legs. It was a headband, and I thought it would be perfect for my little witch's legs for this truck. Anyway, so I love to put little, give all of my little characters just some cheeks and some cute little eyes. And I have, a very loved paintbrush that I add some doodles to, just some, just to really bring them to life. Isn't this so fun? Just watching, just bringing a piece of wood and just by adding some paint and some cute little faces, just bringing these adorable characters to life. And so I think the Frankie is my favorite. I just love the way that they turned out. And I'm so grateful to the Lord for giving me these talents that I can share with you. And I do encourage anyone that loves this just to keep on doing it, because that's our gift back to the Lord, is by doing things with the talents he's given us. And so then now I just painted just a craft stick brown. That is going to be the top of the stem for my jack-o'-lantern. And then now I'm taking my fine Sharpie marker, going around each of the characters just to give it some outline and some doodling, because I really feel that is what makes it pop. Y'all have heard me say that before. It's all in the details, guys. And if you mess up, then you just paint over it. All right, guys, I love my paint splatters, and so this is no exception. I do splatter black first, and then I go back over it with some white. All right, I just added some white highlights to my back glass. And so then now just kind of bringing out the truck, just adding some more white highlights. I really feel that it's all in the details. And so this is just acrylic paint, and if you mess up, then you can just paint over it and start over. I know it's frustrating, but I just say that to encourage you that you can do it too. All right. So then now what I'm going to do is just continue to add some highlights or some doodling to my truck, and just really bring everything out and make it pop. Into the styrofoam. I just used 2 blocks for my styrofoam. These witches legs are from the Dollar Tree, and they were a headband. I just wrapped a rubber band around them so that they would be a little closer together, and then I just fit that headband around the styrofoam, and then actually I didn't have to glue that or anything. I just love the way that turned out. I did paint my styrofoam black on the top because I didn't have any black Excelsior or anything like that, so I had to put my thinking cap on, and I pulled my lime green and black tulle out of my ribbon stash, and I'm going to make just little black and green little bundles using some U-pins, just sticking them in the styrofoam. Then I just added some little buffalo check bows to each of the little characters, and I think they just turned out so cute. I also stuck in a couple of Halloween picks from Hobby Lobby, and then now I'm going to do some curly cues using some black Chanel stems from the Dollar Tree. I'm just using those in a lot of these Halloween projects, and I think that this little Boo Crew truck turned out so cute. Next up is my Farmhouse Witches Hat, using one of the witch hat frames from Dollar Tree. Now, guys, let me know. I have not seen them in my store this year, 2021. If anyone knows, leave a comment. Let me know. Did Dollar Tree discontinue them, or they just haven't put them out in the store yet? I would think that they would. Anyway, if you know, please leave me a comment, because I love redoing these witch hat frames as well as a lot of other people. Anyway, my project is inspired by Pinterest, so look in the description box for the inspiration piece. All right, guys, let me go ahead and share what I did to create this cute Farmhouse Witches hat. The little witch's hat is from Dollar Tree. The deco mesh is from Hobby Lobby in their Christmas section. The fabric I had in my stash. The ribbons are either from Craft Outlet, Hobby Lobby, Joann's. That large black and white polka dot I picked up at Sam's a few years ago, back when they were doing the summer ribbon. I really miss those when they were doing the summer ribbon. Anyway, so what I did is I just took off the boo and the buckle from the hat. I decided to leave all of the tinsel because it was black and it was shiny and it was going to go with, you know, this witch's hat theme. And so I just wrapped the fabric around the top of the witch's hat, just hot gluing that. I tried to hot glue to the tinsel itself and not get any of the hot glue on the frame so that it wouldn't break it. And so I'm just wrapping it around here. I'm just, you know, folding it and tucking it. And, you know, it has that little curve in the witch's hat. So I just, you know, had to play with it a little bit to get my fabric to lay the way that I wanted it. This is a 10-inch deco mesh, and I am rolling it out on my mat and cutting it at 10 inches each. The little blue thing underneath my mat is a shelf liner. I just have that to help myself from, you know, my little mat moving. It really helps when I'm cutting like this. And so then to attach my deco mesh to the brim of my little witch's hat, I am just using the ruffle technique and then using some chenille stems. I cut my chenille stems in thirds, and so I use about, you know, a third of the stem, and then I'm going to go across the top, and then I'll go across the bottom. I only put like 2 rows of the deco mesh. I'm sorry, I don't count my bundles or anything. I get questions about that. I'm just working, and then before I know it, I'm like, oh my goodness, I don't know how much or how many I put on there. So I apologize. I'm not really a counter, but I just put 2 rows of these little ruffles on my witch's hat, and I just continue to put them on there until I like the fullness of it. For the band of my hat, I'm using this 1.5-inch ribbon from Craft Outlet, and I just figure out where I want the position. I don't want it to be too far down because then I can't see it. So I just kind of am fiddling it with it here to figure out where I want it, and then I'll just hot glue it on the back. This little pick is from Hobby Lobby, and I don't want the whole thing, so I'm just taking off part of it, and then I will hot glue it in the top of the hat. Now I'm going to start working on the bows. And so this one right here is going to be for the top of the witch's hat. And so the majority of the ribbon that I used in this Farmhouse Witches Hat came from either Craft Outlet or Hobby Lobby. And I used my tiny attacher, my little stapler, just to help put a tiny staple in my bows. This is just something that helps me, works for me. Sometimes I will get comments to say, can I use a regular stapler? Absolutely. If it works for you, if it does not, get in the way of when you want to gather your bow, and put your bow on your project, if it doesn't get in the way by being able to tightly, gather that together, absolutely use whatever you have. Anyway, so then now I am just layering my bow. And like I said, this one is going to be for the top of the witch's hat. Then I'm going to move to the larger bow that I used for the brim of the hat. And again, all of these ribbons either came from Craft Outlet or Hobby Lobby. And so I'll just quickly go through here. You'll just kind of give you an oversight of what I did to make the bow. Next up are my DIY Dollar Tree wood pumpkins that I created for my 3-tier tray, or they are just cute like little shelf sitters. All right, aren't they just adorable? What I used are some of these wooden pumpkins that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I think they may have a couple of other ones, different colors. These are the scrapbook papers that I'm using in this project. These are scrapbook papers that I had on hand. You may get lucky and find, these stacks or patterns, but, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's, those type of craft stores always have different cute seasonal scrapbook paper. Anyway, this Boo scrapbook paper came from this K & Company stack that I had on hand. These two patterns are coming from this WJB collection that is from Hobby Lobby. and then we'll get started on putting the paper. Okay, I just put the wood pumpkin on there, take a pencil, and then I just trace the pattern of the pumpkin. Sometimes when it's patterned like this, I'll trace on the front of the paper versus the back, only because I want to capture a certain wording or certain pattern or something like that. But then for the this one, and then for the third one, I trace the pumpkin on the back and then cut it out. Okay, I'm using this Mod Podge in gloss because I prefer the glossy look, but they also make a matte finish. And then that white thing is a squeegee I use to smooth my paper on to get out the excess. Now, I want to share a little crafting tip that I just recently learned after many years of doing, projects like this and putting Mod Podge on. Let the Mod Podge completely dry once underneath there, and before I put on my top coat of Mod Podge, because that decreases the bubbles. And so it just goes to show that you're never too old to learn new tricks and never too much of an experienced crafter to learn something new. So anyway, I'm just finishing up these pumpkins by just putting on the Mod Podge and squeezing out any of the excess glue, wiping that off, and then I will let that completely dry before I put on the top coat of the Mod Podge. To give some distressing around the edges of my pumpkins, I'm using my Tim Holtz Distressed Ink, the Black Suit. I will have it linked below in the description if you want to see the details of this exact one that I used. I'm just going around the edges, and then since this is a little wet, I just take my finger and I just smooth it out so that it gives it a little distressing and blending, and just gives it the look that I like. Now it's time to decorate the pumpkins. So I have some very large rickrack. I find this at Hobby Lobby, but recently I've noticed that Walmart is carrying it as well in their crafts section. So I'm just, putting hot gluing pieces on the bottom where I kind of like it, and then just using my cutter bees. I use these scissors. They're strictly for ribbon and things like this. I have my little scissors marked. I have like scissors for every little thing that I have in my craft room, and so I will have those linked below if you would like to check those out. I use those just for ribbon. Then, using my ultra fine Sharpie marker, I only use the Sharpie marker brand. I have been getting questions about that recently, so I wanted to make mention of that because it does not smear, and I like that. And so to make the bows, I have these fat quarters that I picked up early in the season when Walmart was just putting out their Halloween fabric. And then I'm going to take each one of those and actually tear off about a 1-inch strip. I like to tear off my fabrics because it gives a ragged edge, and I like that. I just cut off the strings. This is the bow that I'm going to be making. So I have one here that I'm just kind of sharing what I did, and then I'm going to make the other 2 bows. Using some glittery Chanel stems that I picked up from the Dollar Tree, I just wrap that around the stem of the pumpkin, and then I just twist it to kind of have it hold, and also put a little dot of hot glue. I have a thin dowel that I just wrap the Chanel stem around, and so that it gives me the little curly Q, and then I just kind of position it there the way that I want. So I just take my fabric and I'm just wrapping it around the little stem, but if it's not thick enough, it can always be glued or something like that. Now the next layer of my bow, I have some raffia because I love to use raffia on my projects. It's strictly, an option for us to use the different types of textures and ribbons that we would like. This black and white buffalo check I got at Hobby Lobby, and I'm just making a simple little loopy bow and just using my little mini stapler, tiny attacher to secure that in the middle. And then I just layer that raffia on top of the black and white buffalo check and then secure that with a little chenille stem and then just hot glue that right there on top of there. So then I just attach the bows and use my pinking shears just to trim off any of the, ribbon or fabric. I use my Stiffen Quick to stiffen up the limp fabric just a bit. Now I have using these DIY stickers that I did pick up at the Dollar Tree. This has been many years ago. I'm also using some Peachy Keen stamps that I have in my stash. You may have heard me mention that I used to make cards and be a scrapbooker, and so I have quite a few stamps in my collection. But these Peachy Keen stamps, I don't think they're in business anymore, but they had these jack-o'-lantern faces. I'm thinking maybe eBay. You might not eBay. Yes, eBay. You may be able to look for and see if you can find some Peachy Keen stamps. Anyway, and so these DIY like little pumpkin stickers that Dollar Tree was offering one year are perfect embellishments for these little pumpkins. And so then I will just, finish up doing that. And then these little pumpkins like this are perfect for 3-tier trays or just a shelf sitter, just a cute little gift to give to someone special. I took one of those already cute little ghosts from Dollar Tree and repainted it into this cute little ghost that I just love so much. So let me show you how I painted up this little ghost. All right, so I'm starting here with one of those ghosts from the Dollar Tree. And even though she's already cute, I wanted to transform it a little bit. So I'm just taking off the boo of the, with the letters. And I'm really struggling with this. And so, this is really glued on tight. This scrapbook paper is from Hobby Lobby. I've had it in my stash for many years. It was a Paper Studio brand. I got it on sale. I'm not quite sure if it is still available, but it was cute and I wanted to use it. So now I am just putting a layer of Mod Podge to attach or adhere my scrapbook paper to my ghost. I kind of work in sections. I found that that works better for me. So I just kind of put the Mod Podge on and then smooth it out with my squeegee and let that completely dry before I put a layer of Mod Podge on the top of the scrapbook paper. So then now I'm going to use my Waverly white chalk paint and give this little ghost 2 coats of the chalk paint. The inspiration for this project is linked in the description below. I was inspired when I saw something on Pinterest because I wanted to make a cute little ghost, so look in the description box. To enhance my ghost a little bit more, I'm going to do some shading. And so I have some gray acrylic paint here, and I have a flat paintbrush. I dip half of my brush in water, the other half in paint, and then I smooth it out on a paper towel, blending it there. And then I just go around the ghost and give her, just some character to kind of bring her to life. Now I have a stencil brush and some coral colored paint, and I'm just stippling on some little cheeks because I like to put little cheeks on my projects. And then I cut a triangle out of a piece of cardstock, and I am just tracing it on my little ghost here to create the banner. And then I'm going to take some orange paint. This one is a Spiced Pumpkin by Americana, and I just paint the banner. I ended up using 3 coats of the orange paint to completely cover, or to get the coverage that I wanted. While I'm waiting for one of the layers of the banner paint to dry, I draw on my eyes and then just paint them with black. I add some little highlights by using some white paint and some little dots. I prefer to use a black Sharpie marker when doing little smiles or a little mouth on my little projects, and less is more in my opinion, because you can go in and fill in and that kind of thing. And then I'll just continue to bring her little face to life by adding some eyelashes and some eyebrows and some freckles. I just really like all the little details that it just brings to my little projects. It just really brings them to life. I'm just going to finish up my banner here. I put my letters on there, B and then an O and then another O to spell boo, and just putting some little happy dots on there. I will just continue to work on this banner. I'm just going to make the little string and then just add some highlights to really bring this little project to life. I have to do my little doodling around the edges of the project, and so I'm just using my fine Sharpie marker and just going around the edges. Then I'll go back in with my ultra fine Sharpie marker and then go along those edges, because sometimes it actually just depends on the mood that I'm in, what kind of look I'm going for. Sometimes just the addition of both of the markers, the little fatter one and then the ultra fine one, just really gives it a great blending technique and good look. Then I'm going to splatter this project with this gray paint, and I put some on my little plate and I added a bit of water to give it an ink consistency, and then using a stiff stencil brush I go over the bristles with the stick towards my body, and so that gives the splattering technique that I like. Then I add a sealer on it. My favorite is this Delta gloss sealer. I will have everything linked below in the description if you want to know something that I used. If I don't have it linked, just please leave me a comment and I will find it. If I can, I will find that for you. And so then just like the picture inspiration, I loved the black and white gingham bows, so I have this ribbon from Hobby Lobby, and then I'm just going to make some little bows to glue on the edges of the banner so it looks like she's holding the banner. This purple and white polka dotted ribbon is another one that I got from Sam's. I don't think they offer those anymore, sadly. Anyway, so I'm just making a little bow here, and I'm going to grab a black glittery Chanel stem and just wrap it around the end of a paintbrush, making some curly cues, and then I layer that on my little bow. And then I'm going to glue it at the top so it looks like she has a little bow in her hair. I just have a little candy corn that I snapped off of one of my picks from Hobby Lobby. Just added it there in the middle of her bow, and she's done. I just love her. She just makes me smile just looking at her, and I hope that she makes you smile too. Guys, if you recreate this, please share it with me over in the Country Charm Crafted community. So many of the sweet friends there have shared their version of this cute little ghost, and everyone is just so creative. It's my free Facebook group that I invite you to join if you would like to. It's an extension of my Facebook page where I do share creative crafts like this. All right, guys, thank you. This little shelf sitter, it just turned out so cute. It's so simple to make, guys. What I did is I have a 3x3 frame from the Dollar Tree, and it was pink. So I'm like, no, we're gonna have to dress that up. So I took my blade and just cut out the back. I painted the frame with 2 coats of this pumpkin color chalk paint, and then this striped scrapbook paper is from Hobby Lobby probably. I just cut it out to size and attached it to the back of that cardboard that was in this frame with my adhesive tape. It's just double-sided tape. And if you're wondering where you can get that adhesive tape glider, any craft store, or I will have it linked in my Amazon store as well. All right, so then I just attach the back of the frame to the frame, and then to add some decorative touches, I'm cutting some rickrack to size, and the rickrack came from Hobby Lobby. And so here's how it looked, just so cute. For the numbers, I'm using these chalkboard tags as well as some white numbers. Everything is from Dollar Tree. So I first I wanted to put them on, you know, like this, but they were too big. So I ended up having to fussy cut around the numbers to get them to fit on this, you know, on this little box. And so the numbers as well as everything is from, you know, the little frame, the numbers, the chalkboard tags, everything. What I'm using to get them to stand up and give some dimension, they're called pop dots, and they are in the scrapbooking section at any craft store. And so then now I'm just making a simple bow. This ribbon came from my favorite store, Hobby Lobby. And so I'm just fussy, you know, just kind of fiddling with it here, just kind of making it the way that I want, and just making a cute little bow right there to sit right there at the bottom. How about some boo sticks to add to your decorating this Halloween season? Now I'm going to share how what I did to create the little boo sticks. They're just plastic wrapped candy canes. I also am going to show how I made the boo sticks tag as well as the little jar. Now that jar came from Dollar Tree, and so I love to make these fabric wrapped candy canes for different seasons. I've shared them on my channel before, but this is an overview of the supplies that I use. The candy canes came from Dollar Tree. The fabric is mostly from Walmart, and or you know, you can get cute fabrics anywhere. Just check Joann's or Hobby Lobby or Walmart or that kind of thing. Anyway, so I just take my scissors and I start about 1 inch strip, and then I tear it so that it gives a ragged edge. And so then this is what I'm using to wrap around my candy cane. I just use hot glue to secure it in different places. So I am just going to do that and wrap different candy canes and just give a variety of what I want sticking out of my jar. As I mentioned, I have other candy canes, seasonal candy canes for Christmas that I have done that I will link in the description box below or in the iCard if you would like to check those out. All right, so I'll just continue to wrap different fabrics around these candy canes. I use my Mod Podge fingertips to help me, you know, so that I don't burn my fingers with the glue. Those little masking tools that we have now from the Dollar Tree would work as well. Anything to protect those fingers. Okay, here's an overview of everything I used for the tag, and I'll just kind of share what they are as I go through. Now, the little manila tags I've had in my stash for a few years. I do have them linked in my Amazon store if it's something that you would like to check out to have it shipped to you or to get a few more details. I'm using my fine Sharpie marker and just hand lettering boo sticks on here. It is some God-given talent. I do encourage everyone that loves this style of writing or wants to learn any kind of hand lettering just to keep practicing, because I know that you can do it as well. So then now I'm using my ultrafine Sharpie marker and just adding some more doodling around the tag. You've heard me mention before, the beauty is in the details, and so I do like to add all kind of different doodles and just different kind of highlighting to my projects, because I really think that this brings it to life. So then now I am using my vintage photo distress ink and a finger dauber, and I'm going to go around the tag and just give it some distressing. I'm also going to be folding up or crinkling up the tag because I want it to give it an aged look. And I kind of achieved that with this distress ink as well as crinkling it up. These are just very large Q-tips that I got at the Dollar Tree many years ago. And so I'm just using one of those to go around the letters just to enhance it a bit more. Then I do extras. I'm just using the end of a paintbrush and some white paint and just going around and just giving a dot with the end of that paintbrush to the ends of my letters just to kind of make it pop. As I mentioned, this jar is from the Dollar Tree. If you don't have this particular jar, you can use a can, you can use a little mason jar, you can use anything around your house that you may have. I just wrapped it with just a strip of fabric, and then I have some jewelry cording that I'm just tying around the jar that I'm going to attach my tag to. And, I like decorating with this jewelry cording or crafting with this jewelry cording because it provides just some whimsical cuteness, and it, as well as attach different little tags that you want to have to your projects. Next up is a trick or treat sign. Now, this is something that I created using two of these little signs that you can get from the Dollar Tree. They have had them for the last few years. Now, whatever it says on it, it doesn't really matter because I painted over it, but I used two of these. This one says thankful, but I attached them, I glued them together. Yes, my E6000 is black. I didn't realize it until I brought it home and used it, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's coming out black, but that is okay because I just need it to adhere together. I don't care what color it is. Anyway, so I'm just using a combination of hot glue as well as the E6000, and so then to get them to dry, I just use my clamps to get them both to dry. Now, I had the dilemma that I did not want to have that crack in the middle of my sign. So I was trying to think, do I want to put some putty in there? I'm like, no, maybe I'll crackle paint. So that's what I did. I am doing a crackle painting technique. Now, I have done this many times on my channel on different projects. If you want to see more crackle paint techniques on my main channel, look for the little magnifying glass and then just search for crackle paint, and anything that I've crackle paint will pull up. Okay, so I like to use this crackle paint from Folk Art, and I did get a bum bottle one time and it was not cracking the way that I thought, and I was thinking, well, maybe folk art changed the formula. So I got a new bottle of crackle paint, and yeah, it works great. So anyway, how I crackle paint is I paint my base coat with black first, then I put a thick layer of crackle paint on the top, let that completely dry, like I don't have any stickiness at all. Then the lighter coat that I want to have on top, because I want the black to show through the cracks, that is the top layer that I will put on top. So then I go back over it with a top layer, and I try to load up my brush really well and not go back and forth. I try to go with one swipe, kind of cleaning up as I go along, and then the bottom layer, which is the black, will show through the cracks. Coat is dry, then I'm going to create a checkerboard border. The brush is a number 10 flat paintbrush, and then this paint is Canyon Orange by Americana. And then I just load my brush with paint, and then I just go in this motion. It doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, I'm not going to stress about it. A lot of people make all of their painting perfect. Mine is so far from perfect. It is, not even funny. So I just kind of go along like this, just kind of like the checkerboard pattern, and just go all the way around the board until I get finished. So then now I am going to shade around my project. I like to use milk chocolate and a 1/2 inch flat paintbrush, and like I kind of do the same. I feel like I'm a broken record. I kind of do the same techniques every painted project because I just like the look of it, and I'm so grateful that so many friends does like it as well. I hope that y'all don't get tired of me saying that, but the Lord has just blessed me with these different talents, and I am so grateful that so many different friends do like the same look. As for me, it's taken me a little bit to kind of get my style, and so that's what I want to encourage you, that you find your own style and then you make it your own, and you pick up different tips from different people that you watch. So I'm just going around this block, and just by adding that crackle paint, really just, you don't even know that it was two separate blocks. So I like that. So then now I am using a 1/4 inch flat paintbrush. I do have my favorite paintbrushes linked in my Amazon store if you would like to check them out. And so then I am just going to hand letter trick or treat, because it's all about the fun, cute, too cute to spook Halloween projects for me. Nothing scary or gory or bloody for me. And so anyway, back to hand lettering here. It is some God-given talent. I do share with anyone who does like this style of lettering. Just keep practicing, and eventually you will find your rhythm. Anyway, so then I just take a flat paintbrush and just go around the letters just to add some happy dots, because those make me so happy, and just add just happy dots to the ends of my letters. Thing that I've mentioned in other projects, I just take my fine Sharpie marker and just go around the edges. I don't care if my lines are straight. I don't want them to be. I'm just adding some doodling and just something to outline them so that it brings out the project. So then I have to add my splattering on my project, and so I just have a stiff stencil brush and just a craft stick. I just go I move the craft stick toward my body and project the paint onto my project. I do have a separate video tutorial how I splatter paint my projects. I will link to that in the iCard as well as in the description box below, so that you can check it out if you would like to see a separate video. And so then now I'm just using, first I used black, now I'm using kind of some off-white paint. And then once my project is completely dry, I like this varnish that I do get. It's in my Amazon store, or if I can find it in the craft store, but I like the glossy look. But this varnish also comes in a satin and a matte finish, so it just depends on what you want for a personal preference.